So last time I requested us, we try to read through uh, the introductory parts. There was that slide, the 7 slides, PowerPoint slides. Then I also requested you do some reading on that other big 87 slides. Don't that give us a clear view of what we would be looking at. Okay? What we'll be looking at. So, so this is our, okay, so this is our coordinator for the deal. So, I believe we try to do some reading. So can we just simply run through a few aspects? We do a recap. Could someone tell us how we conceptualize or what we understand by statistics? What we understand by statistics? Vincent. Statistics? Could someone, yes, there's a hand up. That is the, I'm seeing a hand up. Yes, yes, please.
Good morning, everyone. For me, I understand statistics as a process of correcting data, organizing data, presenting, analyzing data, and presenting data for for uh, for planning purposes. Thank you.
You're welcome. There's the aspect of uh, data collection. Yes, any other contribution? Any other view? That was Tukume's the text. Could someone else also give us their view? Then we harmonize it out. Yes, 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 Sozi. Okay, thank you. So ideally, when we talk about statistics, we look at the process, we look at the methodology, we are looking at the procedures through which we collect data, organize it or summarize it or present it, make analysis on it, interpret, in order to come up with useful or meaningful information which helps or aids with decision making. Okay, so that is the brief. Okay, so that's the aspect of collection. You organize, or you summarize what you've collected, or you present what you've collected, then make analysis, interpret what you've analyzed for us, and that analysis or that interpretation gives us the what we call information. Gives us what we call information. So we are seeing that we are coming across two items in our understanding of statistics. Okay, we are having two items there. We're having the aspect of we have talked of chat and we have talked of information. Okay, we have talked of data and we have talked of information. Could someone help us to help understand what you mean by data or what you mean by information? Could someone give us a view or views on those two. If someone give us views on those two, what we mean by data, what we mean by information. Yes, Sammy. I think Sammy's hand is up.
Yes, good morning to you all. Um,
Morning, morning.
yeah, data is facts, especially numerical facts collected together for reference or information. And then information is knowledge communicated concerning a particular fact. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, Sammy. Yes, another another check, another view, another contribution, another view, another contribution. Could someone else also give us what we think? Yes, Mukuru Okecho. Yes, Bwana Okecho. Okecho, Okecho.
Yes.
Okay, if Mr. Okecho. Yes, yes, please. Yes. Data and information. We are trying to get views on what we mean by some of those aspects. Yes. What is your take? Okay, Mr. Lumu. Is it Lumu? I think Okecho is having issues with the network. Lumu. Mr. Lumu.
Yes, please. For me, I would describe data as raw facts, whereas information is processed data.
Someone is requesting to record the class. I think last time I said this people make things.
Hello.
If someone else could help us record the class. Yes, please.
Hello.
Yes, please.
No, good morning.
Morning, morning, Sawai.
According to me, data are raw facts, while
Yes.
information is already processed data.
Okay, thank you. So you are in the same line with the rest. So we are saying that data are raw facts, whereas information is processed data. Okay, so we are saying that data are raw facts because we deal with a number of issues. So that's why we use that adjoint. It's an adjoint. So if you're talking about a single value or a single aspect, then we're talking about datum. That's when you can say datum is, but we rarely deal with a single, we are dealing with quite a number of facts. Okay? So we are saying that statistics is all about collecting, organizing, or presenting data, analyzing and interpreting so that we have useful information that helps with decision making. Okay, that helps with the decision making. So in there, the aspects that we need to make ourselves acquainted with before we begin elaborating and carrying on. Okay, so under the we have what we call the key concepts. You can call them key. Uh, Key concepts of statistics. Usually statistics moves alongside research. These two are usually fused, or what we may call identical twins. We use them. They are very hard to separate from another. Okay, so we have aspects such as population, we have aspects such as sample, we have aspects such as what we call a sample, or we call it a sampling frame. It's the same thing, sample or sampling frame. We have what we call a parameter, is what we call hello. Yes, morning. How are you? No, I've not come. I'm actually finishing class. You call me later. I'm having class. I'm running class online. I'm not come. Let me call you when the class is done. The ones having their videos on, please, could you could you have your videos off? Because it's consuming a lot of data. So we are saying we have population, sample, a sampling frame, a parameter, that we call a statistic, that we call a variable, that we call constant. Okay, so these are key, or what we may call basic concepts that before we begin proceeding on with the, we should understand, because we shall be uh, dealing with these aspects. We shall be interfacing with them or interacting with them. So we need to understand what they are and what they mean. Okay? What they are and what they mean. Could someone help us understand what we mean by population? Could someone give us an idea what he or she thinks? Please have your videos off. Is it who is this? Whose video is on? Is it was it Mr. Krut? I'm seeing the video is still on. Yeah, the hand is up. That is for who? Is it Sammy? I can see hand
Yes,
up. Yes. Yes, Sammy.
yes. Sir, I would love to define population as an entire set of individuals, objects, data points that share the common characteristics and are interest of study.
Okay. Good. Another another view. Someone that someone with a view, a different perspective, different thinking. Someone with a different thinking. Someone with a different thinking. Another, yes. I think that is in Pulusozi first. Okay. Yes. There was another hand. Okay. So basically, when we talk about population, in regards to statistics, we are looking at the totality or uh, the entire number of say items. Yes. Let me just speak this call from like some of your colleagues. Hello. Morning. How are you? Yes, Mavis. Now, your friends, there are some friends of yours in class there. We have requested them to join the class. We are having the class online. So let them share with you the link. There's sister there. Sister, have you seen sister in class? If she has come, there's a sister there. Uh-huh. So they are joining, we are attending the class online. Sorry, but I thought you had the WhatsApp group. No, I requested your friends to communicate that,
Come
that
in, come
having,
in,
that, that having the
come in, come in, friends.
Okay, so I was saying that when we talk about population, we are looking at the total number of units. They can be units, they can be elements, or anything that one has interest in studying or extracting information from is what constitutes a population. Okay, anything that where one has interest in what in studying what constitutes a population. Okay, then a sample. Could someone, yes, I can say hand up, but I can't pick the name. Yes, the one whose hand is up.
Yes, good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, if we talked of sample, is the subset of the population used to gather data and make inferences about the larger population.
Okay, thank you. So when you talk about a sample, yes, a sample is a fraction of the population under study. A sample is a portion of the population under study. A sample is a selection from the population under study. Or a sample is a portion of the population under study. So you can use any of those statements to explain or to help understand what we mean by a sample. We are simply looking at a fraction, a portion of a section or a section of the what? Of the population under study. And of course, we know that a good sample is one that gives a good representation of the population under what? Under study. Good. Then there's what we call a sample frame, or you can call it a sampling frame. You can call it a sample frame or a sampling frame. Uh, who could be having an idea of what we call a sample or a sampling frame? someone has an idea of a sample, sampling frame, you can call it a sample frame or a sampling frame. Someone with an idea of a sample or a sampling frame. Is the hand still up or you forgot to put it down? A sample or a sampling frame. Yes, there's a hand up. Yes, please. Yes, whoever his or her hand is up, please, because I've logged on with the phone, so phone and the tab, so I'm not the phone. I'm not seeing who is raising the hand, the name.
Okay, this is Shadrach. A sampling frame is a list of every member in the entire population.
Okay, that's Mr. Okrut.
Shadrach.
Okay, then Mr. So I can see the hand is up. Shadrach. Yes.
Yeah, to me Shadrach was just said that it's a list of every member in the entire population.
Okay. Okay, so thanks for the contributions and views. Now, when you talk about a sampling
Hello,
frame,
good morning.
yes, morning.
This is Dennis.
Yes, Dennis.
I think, according to my view, sampling can be defined as the list or database of individuals or households or any organization from which a sample can be drawn from.
Okay. So thank you, Bonadent. So when we talk about sample framing or sampling frame, we are actually looking at a list or a device that provides detailed and useful information about the population under study, and is from which that samples are selected or drawn. Okay, as Mr. Dent said. Okay, that or device that is giving us useful or detailed information about the population we are studying, and is from which that we shall draw the what? We shall draw the samples to be studied. Then there's what we call a parameter. A parameter, who could understand what we mean by a parameter. A parameter. Yes, Jennifer, you can see your hand is up. Jennifer.
Yes. Parameter is a descriptive measure of a population.
Okay. Anyone else with a different view or with another view? Any other view? Zahara, what is your take, Zahara?
A parameter is a numerical measure that describes the characteristics of a population.
Okay. Thank you. So when we talk about parameter, we are looking at a quantitative or numerical measure that describes or explains the characteristics of population. Then statistic without S at the end. Statistic. Statistic.
Well,
Statistic.
statistic is a
Yes.
descriptive measure of the sample.
Yes, is that Achola?
Yes, sir.
Is that Achola? Yes, please. Yes, Madam
Yes,
Achola,
please.
I can go on. Yes.
I say that it's a descriptive measure of a sample.
Okay. So parameter population statistic sample. So a statistic is a quantitative or a numerical measure that describes or explains characteristics of a sample. Good. Then a variable. Then a variable. What do you mean by what do you understand by variable or variable in statistics or research? Variable. Variable. Anyone who can give us an idea? Anyone with an idea on that? Variable. Yes, Sammy.
A variable is characteristic of values of interest such as age, gender. Yeah, can say that
Yes.
characteristics of values of
Just,
interest.
just a minute. Let me pick the academic officer. Sajja Mukama. Range somesezza online nemeredde kugenda leero. Ku email, kugyokesa ku email kiwereze. Because what's kanabe ku WhatsApp yo mukaaga. Let me just share the link with the academic officer. How do I share it? This is sharing. Okay. I get there. This is Bwana Emma. Just a minute. This is Bwana Emma. Let me first get back to him. Then. Not where is like WhatsApp. Okay, so we're saying that a variable, we were trying to understand the variable. Yes? A variable. Who was giving us, was it Mr. Sami?
Yeah, it
The
was
academic
me.
officer called it. There's someone I think who wants the link online. I think he's a B student, yes?
Okay, I was saying a characteristic. A variable is a characteristic or value of interest that can be measured, counted, or that is different among the. Okay, like a variable is a characteristic or value that of interest that can be measured, counted, or that I can stop there.
Okay. Anyone who has another view or another understanding? Yes, I can see two hands here. Probably if your hand is up, please give us your take. Just give us. I can see Ngendi. Please, you can give us your take.
I just want to add more on what the previous student has talked. In case of variable, it can be in characteristic number or quantity that can be measured or counted. So variable are always measured and counted.
Okay. So thank you for your views. When we talk about a variable, we are looking at these are quantitative or numerical measures, okay, that are picked from elements, okay, units. What? Yes, this could be units, people, or items, or anything that you're studying, okay, that you pick that information from. As we say, they vary
Okay.
or they change from item to item. Because like if we're studying ourselves and probably we're picking our edges, you find that we have different edges.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. We have members who are not muted. Please, can they mute because they are disrupting our lecture?
Our class. Mume, is it
Yes, I'm asking the members who are not muted and they are disrupting our
please
lecture.
mute. And the challenge is I'm using the phone because where I am there is no power. So with the laptop it could be okay because the laptop comes easy to mute people.
I see Mr. Joseph. I see Mr. Kayonde Joseph. Please mute.
Please mute, otherwise you're giving us echoes. So we were saying that a variable is a measure of an item, unit, anything that we are studying, upon which information is picked. And we are saying that this information or this the data that you pick from this item or unit changes from one item to the other. And I was giving an example, assuming this class of ours that is running. If we are to take ages, you find that I'm of a different age. When you get probably to Mr. Paul Sozi, a different age, Mr. Okay, different age, you get. So there's that variation, variation, there's that change. Okay? When you have to pick our heights, you find we have different heights. When you have to pick our weights, you find we have different weights. So we are studying the picking weight of that item, but it changes from item to item. Okay, that's what we mean by the variable. Then we have what we call a constant. Could someone help us what we mean by what a view on what we mean by constants? Constants. Yes, Zahara. I can see your hand is up. Zahara.
A constant is a measurable quantity that assumes only one value. For example, address and name.
This is an item or a measurable item that assumes only and only what? One value. And the easiest example there that we can look at is the pi. Pi is always pi. Whether you go to Europe, you go to Asia, you go to Austria, you go to East, and pi will always remain 3.14 or 21 over 7. So it always remains pi. That value is constant. When you look at the exponential that we use in calculating Poisson probabilities, also constant. And those ones you can even pick it from the calculator. Okay. So okay, so those are our concepts that we should at least make ourselves aware of or acquainted with. Then we may look at branches or forms of statistics. branches of statistics. Now, we can talk about, since we are looking at just basic statistics, we can look at the very common one. We can look at what we call descriptive. And there's also what we call inductive, or what we call inferential. Inferential statistics. So these are the forms of statistics that we have. Descriptive, implying we are simply explaining, we are simply understanding a phenomena under study. Whereas inductive, or what we call inferential, we are saying that this is where we go beyond the mere describing, understanding, or explaining a phenomena under study, and we do a more detailed analysis from which we draw references. That's why it's called inferential, the aspect of having a reference point. Okay? Whereas with descriptive, we just simply just try to explain, understand the phenomena under what? The phenomena under study. Say, probably gender, how many there, just counting and all that. Okay. Okay. Yes, please.
Yes. By the way, you will excuse me because here in TZ we prefer calling the lecturer Malimu.
No, it's okay. Yes, I understand.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I wanted to ask.
Yes, please.
There is a thing a little bit probably before you go a little bit further, I think you understand that. There is what we call the variable. Okay?
The variable?
Variables, there is what we call variable, but also there is what we call the sampling frame and sample population. Now, in all those, the so-called the unit of analysis, what is it? Is it a variable or is it a sampling frame or population? The unit of analysis, because in analyzing the data, we probably establish a relationship between variables. Now coming up to the point of the unit of analysis. What is that?
Okay, thank you. Our colleague is asking what we call unit of what? Unit of analysis. Of course, when you get to research methodology, or when you come across the proposal, they always ask you, what is your unit of analysis? Yes, your variable is that. Probably you're saying you're going to look at maybe employment and population growth. Those are your study variables. Those are the items that you're going to collect data on. But are you going to collect all data, or there's a specific interest you have? So that unit or that item that you're going to run analysis on is what we call the unit of analysis. Okay? From the variable, you're going to pick a lot of things, but there will be one that you'll be interested in making analysis. Okay? Like, as we said, in our class, we may pick our age, we may pick our height, we may pick our weights. Yes? Now, what is our unit of analysis? Are you going to analyze our age? Are you interested in analyzing our weight? Or you're interested in analyzing our height? Now, that is what we call unit of analysis. What you're going to do in-depth analysis on, what you're going to concentrate on, focus on, and make analysis, give us interpretations, explain your interpretations, try to give us useful information. That will be now our unit of what? Analysis. Okay. I hope I've tried to give a small highlight on that. But of course, when you get to the methodology, you look at all those. They are what we call experimental. There are so many experimental design, units of analysis, and they are okay.
Thank you so much, Malim.
You're welcome, Chief. Okay, so now thank you for that. So we were now looking at, yes, we have said that we look at statistics. We are looking at, we are either dealing with descriptive, whereby we are simplifying, explain, understand a phenomena under study, or we are looking at the inferential or inductive statistics, where we do some simple analysis, come up with the results on which we best to make references or to make our discussion or report writing. Then, in our understanding of statistics, we also came across these items. Vis-a-vis information. Now, when you are dealing with the data or when you are dealing with information, we deal with the two forms of data. You're either going to deal with a qualitative data set, or you're going to deal with what we call a categorical. If you don't call it qualitative, it's also called categorical data, or you're dealing with a quantitative what we also call numerical data or information. So across, you will always interface or interact with those forms of data. You're either dealing with a qualitative data set or you're dealing with a quantitative data set. Okay? You're either dealing with a qualitative data set or you're dealing with a quantitative data set. Now, qualitative data or categorical data, this is data that just explains our variables. For example, gender, you're either Malay or female. Religious affiliation, you're either Muslim, a Catholic, a Protestant, a Seventh-day Adventist, a Buddhist, these African traditional believers, nationality, you're either TZ, Tanzanian, Burundian, Kenyan, Ugandan, South Sudanese, Somalis, Sudanese, Nigerian. Okay? That's what we mean by qualitative information that is fixed in that line. Well, as when we talk about quantitative or numerical data, we are looking at information that has the aspect of quantification or measurement. Okay? Quantification or measurement. And usually, under our quantification or measurement aspects, you may have a discrete measure, or you may have a continuous. Okay? You may have a continuous what? Measure. Now, discrete means we are recording, we are capturing information, we are picking information in its absolute form, or what we call it in its completeness. Okay, in its completeness. For example, age. Age is always captured in absolute form. Number of people attending this session. Okay, it's also in absolute form. Numbers of car in the parking lot. Okay, number of motorcycles in the parking lot. Okay, it picking information in its absolute form, in its completeness. Well, as when we talk about continuous data or continuous information, this is information that is recorded or picked within a given range, or what we may call a given interval, or what we may call a given ratio. In other words, information that we record or pick or capture with fractions or decimals in it is what we call continuous data. For example, time, height, because always our height is captured with the feet and inches. And even when you convert it to either centimeters or meters or pounds, still there will be some fractions in it. Weight, weight can be continuous or weight can be absolute. Because if you have a 50-kilogram bag, then that weight is absolute. But from the 50 kilogram bag, one may tell you, please, can you, me, I'm only interested in taking 5.5 kilos. Okay, 5.5 kilos. So the 5.5 is a continuous because the half is a fraction. Are we trying to pick what we mean by continuous data? How we differentiate continuous data from discrete data? Okay, good. So wherever we are dealing with information or data, you're either dealing with a qualitative data set or you're dealing with a quantitative data set. And I've seen that under the quantitative, you may either have a discrete measure or you have a continuous output. Good. Yes. Now, when we understand our program called statistics, we say this is a process of data collection. Okay. So let's see how do we collect data? How do we generate data? How do we gather data or information? Okay. How do we generate data? How do we gather data? How do we collect data? Now we know that there are basically two categories of data. Who can tell us? Okay, we have primary. You may either be going to collect primary data, or you may end up collecting secondary data. So who can help us synchronize what we mean by primary, what we mean by secondary data? There's someone whose hand has constantly remained. Yes, is this Mr. Tugume?
Uh,
Yes, Tugume, yes,
for me, I know that primary data is data that is collected from the first hand, from the source, the first hand source. Then secondary data is the one that is collected from the another, let's say, from another source. Let's say the newspapers, the books. Then primary data is the one you collect from the source. Let's say you go in the field and you ask like people to give you asking questions. That can be primary data. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So primary data has first hand, as the Mr. Andrew was telling us, first-hand information, or it has the aspect of originality. Okay, you're picking that information from its source from first time. Whereas secondary data, we are simply reading what has been published, reading what is already in existence, and only picking out what you have interest in studying. Okay, good. And you find that okay, so our interest here is how do we come up with, how do we collect, how do we generate this first-hand data? Okay, so method of collecting or generating or gathering primary data or information. And these are basically four. There are four main methods that we use to collect this first-hand information, that we use to get this original information. And who has some idea or ideas on these methodologies, these methods that we use for collecting primary data? Yes, please. Yes, Zahara?
We have the observation method,
Okay, Zahara.
questionnaire method,
A moment, let's move very slowly. Zahara is talking about observation. Yes, the other one you give us was what?
questionnaire method,
Questionnaire. Okay.
then
Another
registration or administrative,
registration or the administrative method. Yes,
then the focus discussion groups.
we have the focused discussion groups or group discussion, whichever you bring after the focused discussion groups, or we said you can call it focused discussion groups or focused group discussions, whichever you start with first. Yes. Okay, she has given us those. Let's add on.
Maybe to the proof interview.
Okay. That's the one. Okay. Interviews. So ideally, these are the four main methods that we use to generate first-hand information. Okay, these are the four main methods that we use to generate the first-hand information. Now, Zahara gave us a questionnaire. A questionnaire is a tool. Is a what? Is a tool for some of you who have been involved into research. In your proposals, you always indicate the tool of data collection, and the tool will always be a questionnaire. And a questionnaire is a set of questions that are designed in line with what a researcher intends to achieve. Okay, so it's a set of questions that are designed in line with or what a researcher or what an individual intends to achieve. So that is a tool, and it's not a method. Yes, scholars like calling it a method, but it's not a method ideally, because it's like saying a whiteboard or a projector is a method of teaching. Those are tools that aid the teaching. A hoe is a tool that aids farming or digging, isn't it? So likewise, a questionnaire is just a tool, because there are those series or a set of questions that you design in line with what you want to achieve for a given project or for a given research activity you get. Okay? So yeah, those are common mistakes, because probably not all authors may be have commanding language in some of the things that they write. Okay, but just like you often find people calling or saying statistics. I mean, data is, data was collected using this. Data was what? Data was coded. Data was entered. Data, they are plurals, so it goes with data were collected using its methodologies. Data were coded. Data were entered. So they are those commonly in primary, we used to read a book that used to be called Common Mistakes in English. And it used to be a red book. I don't know if you, so there are also common what? Common mistakes in some of in our readings. Okay. So, but that is that. Just like you also find other scholars, they'll tell you that methods of collecting data at the top of the survey. But if you've ever participated in any research activity, it's actually a survey. Survey is the actual process of you collecting data. So it can't be method of, but it's the actual activity. But you find scholars calling it a method of what? Data collection. But it's the actual process of collecting data or information. So observations, of course, we can call observations stroke experiments because we know that we conduct experiments by observing. Conduct experiments with the use of our eyes. We collect experiments. So, so you find other scholars, they like breaking our observation. It can be looked at in two dimensions. You'll see some that call it direct, or they break it as direct observation method. Others, they will say indirect observation what? Methods, but the main aspect there is observation. Okay, and of course, those also depend on the research that is being conducted. Okay, so that will determine using of direct observation or indirect. Then we have what we call registration or administrative method. This is employed, or this is used by all or any setting, bit formal, bit informal. Okay, like some of you are travelers. When you travel where you rest, there is those kind of well organized restrooms. You find they ask you of some few details. When you visit the health centers, however much as you're badly off, but they'll still want some background, some information about you. Okay, so that is for administrative purposes. When you like when you applied or you showed interest in joining Cavendish, after the admission letter offer, you are communicated to that you've been given an opportunity to study with us. There are forms or there are some information that was asked of you. Okay, so it helps for administrative purposes. Then we have what we call the focused discussion what? The focused discussion groups or the focused group discussions, the same thing. This is a method that is used for collecting first-hand information as well, but this involves engaging people that are experts, people that are exposed, people that are knowledgeable, people that are professionals, people that are elderly, people that are versed with what you're doing. And it's always advised that you engage a group of 5, 7, 10, if you have a very good interactive session. And of course, with this also, you have what we call the key guide questions. You have your set of questions that you'll be posing to this group as you discuss. So you lead the discussion, you pose the questions, then they give you their views, they give you their thinking, they give you all that you have asked about. And we usually say, if you're using this method, it's also always good you notify them that you're using a recorder, because you may not pick all the information at the same time, because remember you're dealing or you're engaging more than 2 people. And in your research, okay, for some of you, who have done research, for some of you who have participated in data collection or in collecting research and all that, or in training people that are going to conduct research, you always advise, if you're going to the field to collect information, you're always on the begging side. So you don't have, you don't stop those people because you see what's going there and you want information from them. So you find the other one is speaking, 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 okay? So you have to be at the begging side because you want some information from them. So you find if you're not very keen and don't have a recorder, you may end up missing out some very important communication from that discussion that you're holding with them. But if you have a recorder, at the end of it all, when you get back to your place in the evening, as you're trying to make up that daily activity, how it was and all that, you replay and you pick what you may have missed out. Then, of course, we have what we call the interviews. And of course, with the interviews, have what is called the best. We have the self-administered interview. We have what we call it can be mail or cell phone or online. Like now, what we're having an online discussion. Someone gives you a call, someone sends you an email, someone sends you a link to provide some information. Okay. Whereas the face-to-face is where the interviewer and the interviewee are speaking directly. You ask and someone is responding. Self-administered is where the interviewer will leave you with a question or with a tool or with a questionnaire. Then you provide answers, and after you provided those answers, he or she gets back and collects the tool. So basically, that has been the recap on what I requested you to read, because I told you to read about the introductory part. Then, of course, there are those others that you talk about uses of statistics, characteristics, and all that. You continue reading on that. So, and as earlier still said, the duration of our class will depend on what we are discussing that particular day or that particular time. Okay, that particular day or that particular time. So for today, as I commented last week, I requested you to read so that when we come, we shall run through, we shall do a recap to see if surely we did some reading. So next, we shall be looking at data, organization, or presentation. After we have collected our data, we have seen the different forms of data. We have the qualitative, we have the quantitative data, and the different methods through which we collect data. How do we then summarize what we have collected? How do we then organize what we have collected? How do we then present what we have collected? So next week, we are going to kickstart from data organization, data summarization, or data presentation. So if you get some time, then you can be acquainting yourself with data presentation, how we present qualitative data, how do we present qualitative data, how do you present qualitative data, how do you present quantitative data, because those are the aspects that we shall be looking at. So next week, we shall be looking at how we present our data. From my side, I can say that's the brief recap that I wanted us to have in line with that I requested you to read on. So from my side, I can say I rest my case and probably open up if there are a few things you have to put up from that side. Our friends that do attend the physical, as I said last week, of course, there may be times when probably I fail to make it there because probably I may not have the finances to or probably some other things. But since our class is always blended online, then we can always have our class, and we cannot miss any class. It's only that I have not got any contact with the one of the day or one of the weekend physical students. So I'm requesting if there's one of the weekend physical students, please, you can read me your number because I've logged in with the phone, so I'm not in position to, so that I can write your number here and you, because we have, for online, I think we have Mr. Soz. Is that okay? I think our coordinator for online is Mr. Soz. Yes? Soz 4, doing
He's
data
our
science.
class coordinator.
Yes, he's our class coordinator. Now, can you also get the weekend contact person? Weekend contact person, so that at least we know that, because I think that's why there was a gap in communication with the physical weekend person. That's why I had to request our friends online so that we can what? You can try to get in touch if they are there and request them to join online. So one of the contact students in class, sister, are you there? Because that is the sister or any other person. If you're on, please turn on your microphone and remind me of the name, as well as then you read me your contact, so that communication is improved as compared for today. Today there was a gap in communication. Yes? Any contact weekend physical students on campus?
Good morning, members.
Morning, Sebo.
My name is Moses Chimeze.
Yes, Mr.
I'm
Mo.
new here, and I'm happy to be here with you, Tim.
Okay, please.
Yes, I'm here, and among the physical students that you were talking about.
Yes, you're in KG 15, because that's where our class is supposed to be running for.
Yes, please.
Okay. Sister is there. Sister, you're there with the sister alongside other friends, eh? Okay,
Actually,
Mr. Moses, could you please? You didn't get anyone there.
I think I didn't get to the room. But it's okay. I got access to the lecture.
Yeah, it's KG 15. Sorry, it's KG 15. That's where our class is. Yes,
Okay, please.
room
Thank
15.
you.
The very first one after access. Could you please just read me your contact? Active line contact.
It is 0784
784
63
3
41
41
70.
70. Thank you.
Yes.
So Mr.
Welcome.
Moses
Thank
is
you
going
too.
to be our physical contact weekend person, eh? So that we don't we have. So as I was saying, from my side, that's what we had to recap and discuss from what I'd requested you to read on. So I don't know, is there anything from your side? Anything you want to tell us? Anything you?
Yes, Mr. Martin. Good
Yes,
morning.
please. Morning.
Yes, my name is Simon Twice from South Sudan.
Yes, Mr. Simon.
Yeah, I can say that this is my first time to attend your class, and
Yes.
what I would like to put across is the issue of the invitation process. Today we struggle, to get the link for the invitation, either on the student email or on the or on the statistic Skype group. I don't know now, but you are saying that you are using the phone. What I would like to know is that so how will you change for us now to be to be easy for us now to get the invitation on time, or instead of be struggling some time back? So
No,
how will you help?
the link of our class is the same, and it's in the Clanedy chat. Okay, the link of our class is the same for the whole semester, and it's in the Clanedy chat. Because online students, we expected you're expected to log in with your university email and expected to access it via the Planet account, the online learning platform. And when you look at the chart of statistics, that link is there. Probably one of the activities the Mr. Sozi could be doing is the probably kind of reminding that link, pasting it in your WhatsApp, what? In your WhatsApp chat. But the link is supposed to be on Planet and it's in Planet. That's why we're supposed to put it. Because in order for you to access it, you should use your university email. No. Now that link that is there is the very, very old one. But I'm talking of in the chat. It's when you get to the Planet, to the module, or when you go open the Planet, there's the message and the chat section. At the top right hand side, you see them. So when you click to the chat, it brings you the modules you're doing. So just go to the module with what communication is being passed there, because that's where we make regular communication from. Yes, and it's where also I do see what students are asking, and I respond to them very fast. But probably what I could do, I'll remove what is there and put this other active one, because that is there is very, very old. The times when we were still testing them out. Yeah, I'll delete during this week and the updates with the so that we avoid confusion. Because now, because some people can't access. Okay, they don't know yet how to navigate to the probably the chat and all that, but it's fine. I think I should be doing that. Then our friend who has just joined, this is our second week, and we are just doing a recap. So yes, you're not too early and you're not too late. Maybe the allocation. So you're just in time because we're just starting. You see, the first 3 weeks we are still at the background, so we are still. Otherwise, that is it from my side. For our friends who have attended physical, I think your next class is at Siani, if I'm not mistaken. So you could be probably organized until you reach to the main campus for your next at 12:15. 12:30.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, sir.
Morning, sir. How are you?
I'm Mukesh Michael. Sir,
Yes, Michael.
I am requesting that the link should always be shared in the platform, because some of us are not able to join class using our student email. We are using our personal email.
Okay, then that's fine. So, Mr. Sozi, you've heard that. So that's why I've requested that at least you just keep posting that in the WhatsApp group that you've created, because some people don't have access to the Planet. They have not yet finalized the registration with the Planet issues. So that's why the WhatsApp one. Yes, someone is left the camera on. The video is on and is not playing. So can we call it a morning?
Okay, sir.
Okay, so we meet next week.